Welcome, dreamers, to another episode of Behind Your Eyes, where me, Holiday G, and
Shana.
Shana. That was really jazzy. Shana.
I got the spirit, the dancing phalanges.
The phalanges. It's like I'm already getting off topic. Yeah, well, we will analyze your dreams. We will break them down and make sense of the wonderful world of the mind.
Because we are totally qualified for that. Totally qualified. Yeah. Check our certificates and his fancy hat that he's not wearing today.
Yeah. Well, I have got wet hair though, and I'm using that as some form of merit. And obviously, anyone
I've got cat ears, so
you've got cat ears. I've got a fancy cloak.
Well,
you know, what more do you want?
Exactly.
So let's start off the episode by saying, if anyone has got any dreams, please send them in to us, because I think hearing other people's stories and other people's dreams, their insights into other people's worlds and lives, and even if our interpretation means absolutely gibberish, it's still fun. So let's do it.
Fun. So send us an email at bye.dreamcast@gmail.com, bye.dreamcast@gmail.com. And
we also accept submissions via the dreams. So go for it.
Plug yourself in. If you want to send us that telepathy dream, meet us in the astral plane. We got you.
I'll be the funky one with the goat head.
Oh my God. I really hope that doesn't invade my dreams now, because I'm going to be like, Pops, is that you?
Yeah. And I'll just be like this. Right, so first dream. Let's kick off with the first dream. I've got a dream here. I'm going to read it out. It was a dream sent in by one of our viewers stroke listeners. Excuse me while I battle our dreamers, while I battle with technology, as I am a very old man.
Oh my
Nobody
goodness.
noticed that I'm moving my glasses. Yeah, right. Here we go. Are we ready, everyone? Here we go. Word. I love the way this email starts off with girl, spelt G-U-R-L. And I don't think anyone can ever say that without going girl like that, can they?
With the hand motion.
Yeah, girl.
Girl.
Just had this dream, meaning I woke up early from it. Had to share it with you. This scared me. It was obviously, it woke up with me.
That's ominous.
It was July 18th, 2021. So this was just the other day. What are we now? We're the 28th, aren't we? So just over a week ago.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, here we go. I had just been released from the hospital. My parents came to pick me up. They met up with me downstairs in the lobby. For some crazy and unknown reason, my dad asked me if I could drive the car out of the parking garage. Like, obviously, someone who's just been released from the hospital, you'd say, yeah, you're driving.
Yeah, right.
Straight away.
Yeah, you think you can drive? You okay?
Yeah, you'll be fine. What's that? You've had a hernia removed? It doesn't matter. Just go for it.
Oh, how many drugs you on? You're cool. Don't worry about it.
Oh, it gets even worse. She didn't even know how to drive.
Oh, great. You don't have a license.
You haven't got a license. You've come out of hospital after having really bad surgery. You're on numerous drugs. Get in and drive the car. It says here, their Nissan Rogue was red in this dream instead of grey, brackets real life. So this must mean that in real life, they do have a grey Nissan Rogue.
Okay.
I'd like to drive a Nissan Rogue. I think I'd be good getting out of a Nissan Rogue.
I'd have to look up hold on, let me look up what that car, I don't
know.
No,
I just looking at the word Rogue. I like the idea of coming out and saying, yeah, I pulled up in a Nissan Rogue.
Oh, it's kind of like an SUV. It's an SUV. It's cute.
Is it? Okay.
It's cute. Yeah. I don't know why they
call
it a Rogue, though.
Can you describe an SUV in America as cute?
I mean, some of them are cuter than others, yes.
Right. Because I'm just thinking, if I pulled up trying to look all cool and I got out and you were there and went, oh, your car's cute, I'd be like, oh, no.
I mean, it's like for an SUV, it's cute. I really like. There's this picture of this burnt orange color. You can't see it, but imagine a burnt orange Nissan SUV with like some chrome colors on it. It looks nice.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it as I pull up in my Nissan Rogue. Right. Here we go. So I started driving out of the garage and stomped down on the accelerator. I don't know why I did that. because traditionally you don't need to stomp on an accelerator if anyone doesn't drive.
Unless you're trying to get away from something.
Yeah, well, there is that. I tend to go for the feathering of the pedal. I don't know about you.
I stomp on it every time.
I do get straight. Yes, I am wearing pajamas, everyone.
It's a dreamcast. Hello.
The rogue went flying 5 floors out of the parking garage. I jumped out, landing straight on my feet. The rogue hit a red pickup truck in the back when it landed. A family of 3 got out and were unharmed, but they were in disbelief and upset. My dad wasn't mad at me. It was just an accident, but my mum was furious. I would like to say I don't particularly put all the blame on you here, because 1, you've just come out of a hospital. 2, you don't know how to drive, and you've had an accident. Yeah. Later on, she packed up my stuff as I slept at night, and in the morning she told me to get out. End. Well, so
okay.
So she's just got out of hospital. She's met her parents in the lobby. They've said straight away, you're driving. She's like, but I can't drive. It don't matter, you're driving. She's possibly been delivered in a wheelchair already. So she's like let's say she's on morphine and all sorts. She
doesn't have control over her leg.
And no control over that leg whatsoever. She's stomping around everywhere.
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly stomping. It's going, she's taking out ant upon ant as she's getting into the car. And so she stomped on the accelerator. It's gone.
5 stories.
5 stories. So she met her parents in the lobby, but the car was 5 stories up.
So I don't know if hospitals are like this in the UK, but sometimes here, like you have like the hospital connected to the parking garage, and you can have different stories that you can go out to the parking garage from the hospital. So it is possible that she met her parents in the lobby that wasn't downstairs. There might be multiple lobbies depending upon what she was there for.
I've got you. Yeah, no, in England, our hospitals are less of a business, more of a help you when you're about to cark it.
As it should be. As it should be. But
so she's 5 floors up, stomped on the accelerator, driven straight out, John Wick style.
John Wick style, just out the fucking window.
Straight into a red car. And they've got out there a little bit startled. I'm not too surprised, to be honest. You don't expect a car to come flying at you from 5 stories when you're in the hospital.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Yeah. And the dad's not annoyed. He's just like, it is what it is. But the mum's furious.
Yeah.
She is furious. What has she got to be furious about?
Well, I'm wondering, though, like if we're talking dream analysis here, the relationship with her mother, maybe it's not so much that, I mean, in real life her mom may or may not be mad given the situation, but maybe it's it's the fear of her mom being angry about something that she didn't necessarily have control over, because here's this situation that she's in, that she's just been thrust into. She's not well. She's just out of the hospital. She's probably medicated. She probably has no control over her wild leg. And this thing happened that was an accident, that she clearly said was an accident, which is why her father wasn't mad, because he's like, oh, it's an accident. Like, accidents happen. But she's fearful of her mother's reaction to something that she has this lack of control over.
Yeah, I think that's a sound analysis. I was going to go along the similar lines of it's that she's been put into a situation she's not happy with, that she's not comfortable with, that she doesn't feel safe with. And all of a sudden she knows that this situation she's in is out of control. And she does have no control over it. And she's worried about how people are going to feel about her for getting this situation wrong. In the literal terms of her crashing the car in the dream, I absolve you from all blame.
Yes, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. No. I have a word with the stompy leg and ask it to slow down a bit. But I think you're right, Shana. I think you're right. It's that she's in an unfamiliar, uncontrollable situation that she isn't maybe qualified to deal with. When I say qualified, I don't mean actual physical qualifications. I mean as in the worldly wise. And she's a little bit out of control with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, we've got that one bang to rights, haven't we?
That's pretty sad. I think 10 out of 10. We definitely, earned our hat and our certificate with that one. So, yeah.
So, next one, over to you.
Yeah. So this is another old dream of mine that I have from my dream diary. This is from March 31st, 2018. So I was on a trip with a big group of people. A lot of them I knew. Even my dad was there. We were in some kind of very poor and a little dangerous country, but I don't know what country it was. There was this really interesting bus taking us somewhere, and it almost had carriages attached to it. So there was the main bus and 2 carriages. Somewhere along the way, my carriage got detached from the carriage in the front. I was in the middle. They didn't notice, but because we were on some kind of hill, our 2 carriages kept coasting for a bit. So we were obviously going downhill, not uphill. We ended up at this beachside village. The people there turned out to be really kind. We left 2 people to watch our bags at the carriages and joined in with the locals. For some reason, it was like months had passed, but it wasn't even a day. At one point, I was looking for my bag, and someone had brought the ones from the center carriage into the village. So I thought it was missing, and I got angry. I went back to the 3rd carriage where 2 guy friends were still on watch. Everyone was covered in sand, but for some reason, it was tucked away in there. I think I was talking about my bag, because I write these dreams as I'm like waking up, but I think I was talking about my bag.
Yeah, and when you wake up like that, sometimes your brain is hazy, just write this, yeah.
Exactly. So some things might not make total sense, but I think that's what I was trying to convey there. Someone had already taught the people who lived here how to make a Thanksgiving turkey. And then they were teaching us how to do Thanksgiving. The turkey was more like a giant potato. And they said they baked it and seasoned it to imitate and look like coral, like a coral reef. The girl cutting it up was doing an amazing job, and it looked really amazing. My grandma was the one teaching her. Why she was there suddenly and why she knew how to make this coral potato turkey, I don't know. Padre had given me some sort of SIM card for my phone, and I was whispering to him about having both of my phones, and maybe one of them would work and we could call for help. But for some reason, I hadn't done it. This whole time, it was like I knew I was dreaming, but I was just following it to see where it went. So when I would pick up the phone to look at the screen, nothing was clear enough to read. I don't know if you've ever lucid dreamed before, but whenever I look at something to read it in a lucid dream, I can't. It's like blurry. And that's how I know that I'm dreaming.
Always wished I could, but no, I've never had any lucid dreams before.
That's always one of my cues. Like if I were to pick up my phone in my dream, I can never read it. And then I'm like, oh, this must be a dream because I can't read my phone. As I was looking at the crispy and delicious looking coral turkey that I think was a giant potato
turkey. Oh, there you go.
The doorbell rang and I woke up. And that was the end of the dream. That was the end of the dream. I got woken up by the doorbell. You'll find this is a recurring theme that my doorbell rings and it wakes me up from my dreams. Like you don't get the end.
You got to be annoyed when you wake up from that one. You didn't even get to eat the coral turkey potato.
I did not. Like it was looking crispy and delicious. I don't know.
It sounds crispy and delicious, doesn't it? It's like, oh, what's that you got there? I've got a coral turkey potato. Oh, I'll have a slice. Yeah. In this dream, though, we start off in your carriage and it detaches.
Yes.
That doesn't really seem to be that bad a deal, does it? You still get there.
But where were we originally going? Because wherever the first carriage was going to, like, we obviously didn't find it. We ended up at this weird random village on a beach.
Oh, I see. Oh, I thought they got there as well. So what? They carried on off.
They just left us. They were like, bye.
Oh, swines! They must have noticed. So you did. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Because up to that point, I was going to say that's definitely here we go with my qualified voice.
What you got?
It was you're being pulled along by something where you're being pulled into something you don't want to be pulled into, and you've broken free of the shackles of constraint. But then the potato comes into it.
But is it that I've broken free, or that I feel like I've been left behind but ended up somewhere interesting anyway?
Yeah, it could be that, I suppose, couldn't it? It could be that could it be that, do you know when we always say, could it be? Have you ever watched an episode of anything on the Discovery Channel, any of these mystery programs?
Yeah.
They always go, could it be? Could it be? In other words, we don't know. Yeah. In other words, we don't know. So I wonder then if this is you rebelling against society and you saying, I refuse to be pulled in the direction that we're going. I refuse to go on the road. I refuse to go on the main line. I'm breaking free. And I'm afraid I can't say breaking free without going into High School Musical. We're falling, we're flying. But this you decoupling from the carriage is you saying, no, I'm not doing what you tell me. I'm going my own way. And you found your way to this lovely little village where you're comfortable. And the village isn't about the destination, it's about the comfort. And that because you're happy in that village, aren't you?
Yeah, like I know that I need to leave and I need to go somewhere, but it's like I'm chill. I'm fine. Like these people are cool. They're making a coral turkey potato. So
who wouldn't want to stay? But that's the thing, isn't it? When you're comfortable with something, it's like, I need to get off, but I'm having a good time. Do you know, I sometimes like I go to a bar or a restaurant or something like that, and sometimes you get there and 10 minutes in, you're thinking, no, I've got to go somewhere. I've got to go somewhere. See you later, everybody. But then sometimes you're thinking, I've got to go, but I'm really chilled out here and enjoying it. So I think that's what it is, that you found a place in life where you're happy. I'm just trying to struggle to the buried bags. I'm wondering if that's something to do with refusing to go. Maybe. You know, because you can't leave without your bags, can you? No. So but the bags are buried. So maybe you've deliberately hidden the bags. You've got an excuse, like we can't go, I haven't got the bags. So you're saying like you're making excuses for why you're happy in your paradise island stroke village.
So I'm curious though, where does Thanksgiving in March come in? Well, along with my grandmother teaching how to make turkey.
This is where it all goes off the rails, isn't it? With the potato-looking turkey coral thing. Right, well, coral is beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, coral is an amazing thing. It
fits the beach theme too.
It fits the beach theme. It's enticing. You're enticed by the coral turkey potato.
I am.
Potato, I suppose. The potato bit is fine, because if you think about it, quite often, if you just looked at if you just looked at a Thanksgiving turkey cooked the way it is, just through through a closed eye like that, at the skin, it could be a potato.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
it could be.
Forget that it's got
giant
legs.
potato. Giant potato.
Forget that it's got legs and a big orifice at the back and a little scrawny neck hole. Forget that. It looks a bit like a potato. It doesn't look anything like a potato, does it?
I mean, if you squint a little, and maybe you wear glasses. Take off your glasses and squint a little. It could definitely
throw a bit of sand in your eyes. Yeah.
I mean, we are on a beach.
You are on a beach, but I wouldn't necessarily put a Thanksgiving turkey down as the traditional beach style lunch.
For a small but dangerous country.
Yeah. Do you like Thanksgiving? Are you a fan of it or not? Because I'm not a fan of Christmas here in England. I
have really mixed feelings around Thanksgiving because of the history of Thanksgiving and being Native American. But I historically, like as a kid, we used to go have Thanksgiving with family every year when I was a kid. And I have mixed memories about that as well, because, there were family members that I loved to see and family members that I thought were grumpy old bears who needed to leave me alone.
That would be me at the family thing. So
so yeah, like I have mixed feelings around Thanksgiving. But
so your grandmother, your grandma, are your feelings with her about complete comfort and happiness? Do you know how you should feel with a grandparent? How do you feel?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I definitely like, you know, we had points of contention and disagreement like anybody does with family members, but like I love my grandma, and she's always was always somebody who like I looked up to, and she would be the person in the family who, if there was some kind of tradition, she would be the one teaching how to do that tradition.
Yeah. So that could be it, couldn't it? Then the fact that she isn't, she is literally just representing that you've landed in this place, this village, as an outsider. You've chosen this as your place, and someone as a in the hierarchy of the village is teaching you the ropes. You're kind of surrendering yourself to learn. You've landed in this place, and you've opened yourself up to learn new things, and that could be why you're so happy there, because I think sometimes we are happy when we're learning new things that we want to learn.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think that sometimes we're too much, we're in control? Like, oh, I know that. And learning can be fun, and learning can be interesting. Yeah. You just need to put that ego to one side and say, look, I don't know this bit. Could you tell me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I told you before that I'm very much the kind of person where, like, once I figure out the formula for something, once I kind of reach that state of feeling like I know that, I don't want anything to do with it anymore, because I like being in that state of learning and that state of like, ooh, teach me, show me, I want to know, tell me about it. Like, I want to know this new thing. So, yeah.
So there we go. So that's it. That's it. You were stuck on a path, being taken somewhere with the automatons of life, i.e. the sheep, as I call them. I'm not calling your padre a sheep, by the way.
No. He was just hanging out. He was there with me.
He was just hanging out. You were going somewhere you didn't want to be going. You've broken free. I'm not going to sing again. Don't worry. You've broken free. You've found yourself in your own paradise where you are happy. And your representation of your grandma is your happiness to learn and be told what to do.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the point where my dad was giving me this SIM card was kind of like, hey, if you want to leave, if you want this way out, here you go. I'll support that. But I'm otherwise just here chilling with you. Like,
yeah. Which is how parents should be, shouldn't they? They should be like, is that what you want to do? Okay, that's what you want to do. Okay, then you options. Do that, and I'll support it.
Exactly.
So that must be what it. Well, when I say that must be what it is,
it must be.
There's got to be some technical reason for
it. Must be.
Yeah. If anyone now says to me, "Oh, I dreamt of a coral turkey potato," I'd say, "Yeah, you want to learn something? Go away."
You know, I think if anybody ever comes to you and tells you they're dreaming of a coral turkey potato, that something very strange is happening in the universe, and you need to send them to talk to me, because we might be long lost relatives.
Yeah. Is there such a thing that people can dream the same dream? Is that a thing?
I've heard of that happening, and I can't say that I've ever had the exact same dream as anybody else. Especially around the exact same time. But I will say, interestingly enough, the dream that you were just talking about with the parking garage, around that same time, I had a similar dream, not involving a hospital, but involving a parking garage. So.
Oh yeah, I wonder then if there's something that's like on the news or something like that people have access to en masse that triggers these interpretations
Possibly.
of them.
Possibly.
I don't know, but. Right, should I get on to, I've got a short one of mine. Now, my one is a dream, but it's also stroke a bit paranormal. It carries on outside of the dream, okay? The dream's quite short, though.
Okay.
So the dream is this, that I pull up in a train at a train station.
Okay.
I get out of the train, I walk through, nothing unusual. I hand my ticket over, go through, start walking away from the train station. And with that, in the sky is a UFO disc sort of thing. And it's slowly following me. Now, for some reason or other, I'm deciding that I'll just ignore it. It will go away. So I'm slowly walking. Now, this particular road I walk down has got, is army land. It's where I used to live. It's army land, and there's across the main road there's another set of train tracks where they deliver the army stuff every now and then. I get to the train tracks and I'm stopped by the UFO in front of me. I can't say it was a beam of light or something has just stopped me. And then this figure appears in front of me, a very distinct looking figure, kind of Frankenstein's monster-esque, but with no features, almost robotic in his actions.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the dream. Now, this is where it gets weird. It ends there. Literally, it ends there. That's it. But this is where it gets weird.
Okay.
A few months later, now I like paranormal stuff. I'm very interested in paranormal stuff and the extraterrestrials and unexplained. I bought this book about the unexplained phenomena. And in this book, I got to the section about UFOs. Someone had said that they got abducted by an alien, standard story, and they drew the alien. And it was identical to the thing I saw in my dream, to such an extent that I looked at it and went, that's from my dream.
I think we have an obvious answer here. You've clearly been abducted by aliens, and this is you remembering that alien in dream form. Boom.
Yeah, that's it. Move on.
Done.
But aliens always, whenever you hear these stories about aliens abductions, it's almost like they put in anal probes. It's like, find another way. Come on. You know?
It is pretty cliche. It is pretty cliche.
It is, isn't it? It's like, what's that all about, Joe? Just ask me and I'll tell you what colour my eyes are. You don't have to go poking about there.
I do feel, though, I was gonna make a joke when you were talking about the spaceship and how you were just like, oh, I'll ignore it and it go away, and I was like, oh, meet with all of my problems. But when you continued with the dream, I did feel like, okay, so you had this giant thing that's looming over you and you're like, I'm gonna ignore it, maybe it will go away, but then it presents itself directly in front of you in a way that, like, okay, clearly it's not going away and it's there and I have to deal with it now, and here's this thing emerging from it that I also have to deal with. So is it like maybe you're processing some kind of problems that have been going on in your life that you've just that you've just been like, I'm going to ignore these problems and they're going to go away, but then you're going to later on be faced with them and maybe also be faced with further consequences for not dealing with them.
Yeah, actually having to confront this thing which is a representation of the problem in front of me. I would have gone with that. I would have said that's fine, but it's the fact that then months later I saw this picture in a book that now I also believe that the brain fills in gaps. So I believe that your brain does that naturally. It might be that wasn't the creature I saw. It's just straight away my brain went ding, fill in the blank, there it was. But I can remember distinctly looking at the picture and without shadow of a doubt, almost as if I had drawn it. It was like, that's the thing.
Is it at all possible that anywhere you might have seen that image before? Like whether...
It probably, I think it probably is possible, because it's when you start reading about these paranormal and extraterrestrial encounters and things like that, it's quite often the same stories, isn't it, repeated within books, because I think there's a limited audience of people that want to talk about it and stuff like that because of the cliches that come with it. So it's highly likely at the scene, at the time I was very interested in that subject, that I had seen it and it had subconsciously stamped itself upon my mind. I'm
definitely not discounting that, like, aliens exist, because Ancient Aliens is one of my favorite shows and I firmly believe that aliens do exist, but we're just trying to cross off all the possibilities here. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Aliens must exist. Or what kind of ignorant society must we be to say that no, they don't? The very fact that if we count all the grains of sand within our planet, there are more suns in the universe than grains of sand, and we sit there and say, no, we're the only life form. No, of course there's other things, and it might even be because science and magic throughout history have been interlinked. And magic has just been science that hadn't been explained. So could it even be that our dreams are communications with third parties or aliens and things? And do you know how we communicate via a radio or a television or a music? They're communicating directly with us, and these sightings, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it's just a strange one. It's only a very short dream, but it's a very distinctive one that I've always remembered, and it always freaked me out a little bit, the fact that that was the thing.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I haven't been abducted. I've always been able to walk straight. There's never been pains around the back.
Well, you know, there's also the idea of like collective consciousness and how we are all interconnected as not necessarily one entity, but one consciousness, where all of our individual consciousnesses, however we're going to say that word, they link together. So it's if you believe in that, also possible that you had this dream and somewhere in your own consciousness you were tapping into the same memory of this other individual who also saw this creature in what they believe was real life and not a dream, but you're tapping into that. So I mean, that's another theory that is worth.
I love the idea of collective consciousness, because I love the what's the most dominant species on the planet if we remove viruses? Bugs and ants. And they don't have a collective conscious per se that we know about, but they do know what everything's doing.
Though,
it's amazing. I love that. And I've always been fascinated by the Mother Earth, the Gaia Mother Earth theory, that Earth is a living entity in which we are just abiding on, and it communicates through us. So it could branch out into all manner of things, couldn't it?
It really could.
Yeah. We've gone way off dreams here, haven't we? All of a sudden we've become metaphysical, existential.
But isn't that all part of dreams? Because we don't fully understand dreams. So like it could be any of those things. It could be all of those things. It could be none of those things, you know?
Do you know, I love not fully knowing. And some people don't like that. Do you know, when you see a rainbow and then someone goes, oh, what that's made of is where the light is reflecting through that, blah, 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 blah. Just let us dream. Just let us see something and go, that's magic. Do you know, does everything have to have an answer to it? Coming from a person who's breaking down dreams.
You know, I think the exploration of finding out the answer is sometimes more fun than knowing the answer.
Yes, and there's, to a degree, I do believe that possibly our brains aren't made complex enough to understand an answer. The answer isn't something we can absorb. You know, it's like if we went back in early time and went to a caveman and we showed him an iPad, he wouldn't understand what it was. And it's a similar thing. It's just a different way of conversing, but we just don't understand it yet.
So maybe the aliens are trying to tell you, deal with your problems now. I don't have another way to explain this to you because your small human brain cannot understand it.
Yeah. And if you don't, you're going to get a good anal probing. So do it.
You better do it.
Right. Go on to another one of yours. You got another one, haven't you?
All right. Yes, I do. Let me pull it up. All right. So this one is titled, Just Had a Pretty Effed Up Dream. So be ready for this. The dream started with me needing to take a train to the airport, but I ended up at a weird junkyard with abandoned train cars and storage containers. The people working at this place all looked odd as well. Scars all over their bodies and faces. All of them had a gun of some sort on their person. I was shuffled into a dingy little compartment, which I assume was my new living quarters for the time being, with one other person who was a complete stranger to me. I asked this strange guy where we were. He said, I've heard of this place. It's a rehabilitation center for suicide prevention. I was confused, as I had never been suicidal and never heard of such a place. One of the workers came into our living spot with a knife and said, we can hear your thoughts. If you want to run, hide, or die, we will know, and we will cut away pieces of you to eat until you change your mind or have nothing left. Fucking creepy. We then received these odd-looking clothes and were told we had to wear them. Anyway, long story short, this place ended up being some kind of suicide cult where people ate each other, believing they could consume the bad parts of each other and heal themselves of their negative outlook on life. The clothes we received were made from human flesh and were meant to be barriers to keep negative energy out of our bodies. Probably the craziest dream I've ever had. Sounds like a cool premise for a horror novel, though.
It sounds like a Clive Barker sort of situation, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I like the idea of the abandoned train trash yard with the abandoned trains. Yeah, do you ever have it when someone says something and immediately you can visualize in your brain exactly what I'm thinking of? And I'm thinking of, because I'm fascinated by, this is going to make me sound weird, I'm fascinated by rusting metal.
Okay. Are you like salad fingers? You're like rusty
yeah, spawn, the red water comes out. No, I'm fascinated by how these solid pieces of metal that we've turned into something break down back to nature. That fascinates me, how all nature encompasses everything. But so I wonder if the start of this is that they're thinking that they are on the trash heap. Do you know, that they are redundant for whatever they feel like. They feel like they're redundant in life in terms of friendships, redundant in life in terms of failed relationships, whatever like that. So the junkyard symbolizing that you feel you are literally a waste of space.
Like so they were supposed to be going to this airport to go somewhere exciting, but they ended up in this place where it's like, oh, like I'm not where I thought I was going to be. Instead, I feel like I'm a waste of space.
I wonder that if they think they're not worthy of the goal. Do you know, they're not worthy of the reward.
Yeah.
This is the reward, but you're not worthy of it, so we're chucking you on the trash heap instead.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I don't know. It depends where they're going. I like the sound of this trash heap. Well, actually, I don't like the sound of this trash heap because I know what's going to happen.
I don't want to end up at this trash heap.
No, but cannibalism. Now, cannibalism is a funny subject because we're straight away brought into this life saying cannibalism is wrong. Cannibalism is wrong. It's a taboo. Blah 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 blah. You look at Catholicism. Yeah. Jesus Christ, he gave his body and his blood to save people. Is that not a form of cannibalism? Now, I would go even further and say human nature is if we greet someone in a very affectionate way, like a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whoever, we might come close and kiss them. Is that not linked to cannibalism?
Well, there's also this debate over cannibalism being, so we eat animals, right?
Yes.
Most people eat animals and they don't consent to being eaten. But if another human consents to being eaten, why is that not okay? Because they consent to it, where we eat something on a normal basis that doesn't consent.
It's the same with euthanasia, isn't it? That we would say if we had an animal who had some sort of illness, we'd say we've got to put the animal to sleep. But if it's a human in certain places, you go, no, you're going to have to suffer through.
Fight it out. Suffer.
Yeah, it is strange. Cannibalism for me is such a strange thing because, and obviously with your Native American roots, the Wendigo. And the cannibalism that was associated with that you would take over your a neighboring tribe and you would consume the chief because you would then absorb their power.
Yeah.
Which again brings us back to the Christ absorbing the power through Christ donating his blood. Well, donating. I don't know if it's quite that way. But, so cannibalism.
He sits down at the big red van and is like, all right, take my blood.
Suckle up my vein. I don't know why Jesus Christ has suddenly become an ancient Englishman.
I don't know, but I like that imagery a lot. I'm here for it.
So what I'm getting at is I think cannibalism straight away is looked at as taboo, but I don't think it is. I think it's much more primal than that.
Right.
And I believe that no matter how evolved we are as people, we have primal programming. The fight or flight, survive, procreate, that sort of thing. It's primal. And the if you think when a kid's first born, they feel their way through the world through their mouth. Joe, they put everything in their mouth and stuff like this. and it becomes an intimate part of your body, doesn't it? And it becomes kind of like almost like a spiritual part of your body, like the eyes. So the consumption of the flesh, i.e. in this dream, ties up really nicely with the fact that she's then saying that it's protecting, or him saying that it's protecting them.
Not only is it protecting them by consuming this negative flesh of another person, you are transforming that flesh into something positive, which is, interestingly enough, like, you know, people always talk about like, oh, when you're meditating, breathe in love and breathe out peace, like, and it's supposed to come from this, like, I think it's Buddhist ideology, but really that actual Buddhist ideology is that you're breathing in the negativity of the world so that way you can breathe out love and peace to the world. So it's that transformation that you are using your body for. And if I'm incorrectly butchering this, someone please correct me, but that's my understanding of it.
So then that makes this a really, despite the initial outlook of a horrific dream, this makes this quite a pleasant, nice dream, because you've got this character that was given this reward of this holiday and then said, no, you're on the junk pile. But whilst they're on the junk pile, they have used their power to give life and purpose to people who had no meaning. Joe,
that's an interesting
horrible people through this person have now spiritually ascended or reached some form of nirvana or something like that through the very fact that this original person was thrown into their midst. So I don't know about the cutting,
but it sounds like they don't want to be there either. Like they get taken into this cult, is what they call it, where they don't want to be. So at that point, like, even if you're having this positive change and like taking the bad and changing it into something good, is it okay if someone doesn't want to experience that or want to have that?
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose we're getting into some really heavy realms there, because you could then look at this cult, this suicide cult, and say that and I know there's lots of people have suffered with suicidal thoughts and things like that, but when you're in that state and you're at the bottom of that barrel, you do kind of know that you don't want to be there, don't you? You do say, I would love some help, but I know where I am.
Okay.
I know that I have fallen. I know that I'm broken. I can't see any other way out. But there is, this is speaking from experience, there is an inkling of, I do want to be better, but I found myself in this position where I feel I can't be better. So this other person being thrown into the midst is almost the lifeline for these other lost souls that are stuck in this purgatory.
Okay.
And they're being consumed, not obviously, but in the dream being consumed, but being reborn or being given new purpose by this other person's coming into it. And if that is the case, then that is really comforting.
Okay.
And I've always thought there's a fine line, isn't there, between heaven and hell? What one person is one person's heaven is it could well be another person's hell. Joe, who's to say that this train junkyard, and well, for me, who likes rusty metals with the red water, is not loving it. No, I'm seeing this as really hopeful. I'm seeing this as the person, it has brought purpose to someone, and uplifting. What about you?
I don't know that I would necessarily go the hopeful and uplifting direction. I can see where that that is coming from. I feel like I would need more to the story to know if that's really the direction that it is, because we don't know, like, this person's time in this cult, like, how do things evolve? Do they get eaten? Do they eat other people? How do they become a part of this cult? Do they find a way out of this cult? And what happens when they do? We don't know. So I feel like it's hard to say whether it's actually negative or positive in that way, because people who are within a cult, they don't typically look at their cult and go, oh, wow, this is a really bad place to be. I'm really kind of brainwashed here. You know what I mean?
Go, oh, bugger, I'm in another cult, and I
like you don't typically see that, but you know, when you go back, and there are people who've done interviews who have been involved in some very infamous cults in the world, and they're sometimes, not always, able to see, like, oh, this is how I got brought into that and how I got brainwashed into that, and now I understand that this was not a good place to be. And there are some people who never see that, where the rest of the world looks at that and we're like, you know that this was not a good situation that you were in there. So I feel like it's hard to tell whether it was legitimately positive, or if that's all part of the cult ideology, that it was this positive change and positive experience.
That is how some cults thrive, isn't it? On people not knowing that they've gone too far. And no one jumps straight into a cult. You slowly walk into a cult, don't you? You slowly absorb.
Unless you end up in a junkyard and, you know, put in a cell and probably brainwashed that way, you know.
Yeah, then you just go with it. You'd say, yeah, go on then, have me leg. Go on. Yeah. You can eat this one. It's a stompy
you
one.
Get a bit of Stockholm syndrome after a bit, you know.
yeah, it's a tale as old as time. So you could well be right. I think it could go either way. I think it could go either way, honestly. Yeah, but you are right. I suppose it depends on how it ends, or if it even ends. Do dreams even end? I think we read a story as a start and a finish. Does that necessarily be the way it works? Does it have to have a start and finish, or is it more like an Ouroboros where they eat each other and go round and round and round?
I don't know if you've ever had a dream before where, like, you had the dream and then maybe you didn't dream that dream for months or years, and then suddenly you're back in it and it continues and more happens, or something changes, and so the story changes a little bit. Like, and I've had that happen more than once. Like, I have a lot of recurring dreams in general, but I've also had it happen to where I haven't had this dream in ages, and now all of a sudden I'm learning more about what's happening in the story of this dream that I've had that I thought ended, but it didn't.
I only seem to get that if it's the same evening, so the same night. So if I have a dream, fall asleep, well, obviously have a dream, fall asleep, and then have the dream. It's usually the best way to do it. Usually. And then I wake up, and then when I go back to sleep, it carries on where it left off. Okay. Almost like a serialization of the dream. But I've never... dreams are notoriously hard to remember, aren't they, as well? If you don't keep a dream diary, the amount of times I've woken up and straight away and gone, oh my God, I've just had the most horrific dream of all time. And then you've gone brush your teeth, go downstairs, and my wife will go, well, what was it then? Forgot.
That's why I try to make the habit of, like, if I have a dream, waking up and writing it down, whether it's like me physically typing it into my phone, or sometimes I'll voice note it and then I have to go back and be like, what kind of gibberish was this that my phone thought I said? But the annotating it in that way, like, makes your brain more malleable, and it makes it easier to remember those dreams. And one of the things that, like, people recommend if you want to remember your dreams and maybe you don't, is, like, the first thing to do is get yourself that dream journal. And if you wake up and you don't remember having a dream, write down the last thing that you remember before you remember falling asleep, and then go from there. And every night do that, and building upon that, you're going to eventually start remembering your dreams, and you'll remember more and more detail from those dreams, which is why, you know, you sometimes end up with these novels of dreams that you've had with all this detail.
I suppose it's just another form of exercise, isn't it? But rather than a physical exercise, it's a mental exercise that you're doing there to strengthen your remembering powers. I'm sure there's a fancier word than Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Your memory.
I forgot the word.
I like remembering powers more than memory though. Like I'm here for that. It sounds
Someone
mystical and magical.
Yeah. So how are you getting on in life, G? Are you all right? Oh, me remembering powers have gone. What, your memory? Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Yeah, sorry.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but no, I that was a brutal dream. I'll admit that one was a brutal dream, but I see some hope in it. I like to think that the character has found themselves somewhere where they can support or help someone else that can't even see that they need the help that they're getting.
I like that.
But it could be just literally that you're in a train junkyard, found yourself in a suicide cult. It's like, bugger. Do you know, my family's gone off to Disney World and I'm in a suicide cult. Oh, God.
It is what it is. Here we go again.
Yeah, can I get a fridge magnet? That's all I want to know.
And a hat. Don't forget that. Oh my goodness. I know earlier you were saying that you would be a goat man in a dream, but now I'm picturing you more of as like a salad fingers in a dream. Like,
yeah. It's, if anyone hasn't seen Salad Fingers, because he's not been around for a long old time. But go on YouTube Salad Fingers and start it from the start, and be prepared, for I can't describe it. Just go in and watch Salad Fingers.
It's a little bit grimy, and
it's very grimy, and rusty.
It's definitely very rusty,
and spoon influenced.
Yes. It's interesting, and be prepared walking into it. Know that it's not a straightforward story, but
no, you've got to go all the way to the end. It does actually lead somewhere to some degree, but I saw a Salad Fingers plush toy the other day. I am at that age where when I say the other day, it could mean anything between 12 hours ago or 3.5 months ago.
Right on.
Yeah, but I saw a Salad Fingers plush and I thought, he's coming back. Come on, Salad Fingers.
Salad Fingers is one of those classics that I think should come back. Salad Fingers, Charlie the Unicorn, Foamy the Squirrel.
And a mushroom, badger.
Trogdor!
You
know Trogdor, right?
Don't know Trogdor.
Oh my God. We'll have to watch Trogdor after this. I'll have to show you Trogdor. Okay. We got to burninate the countryside and burninate the peasants. So.
So, well, there we go. What's so we've basically done our episode, haven't we? That's flown past.
Yeah, it always does. I say always, like we've been doing this for like years, but episode number 2.
Yeah. Episode number 2. Yeah, we're qualified now. Give us a badge. We're off to start our own little University of Dreams up.
Oh, now you want a badge too. We might be asking for a bit much. You want a hat? You want a badge? I want a certificate. Like we might be asking for a bit much here.
A little bit too much. Can we compromise and just have stickers?
Oh, I like stickers. I'll take stickers.
Yeah. Okay, we'll compromise on stickers. We're going to form our own form of Misogynic University where we worship ancient gods.
Oh my God.
Or I've got to be Lovecraftian.
Love it.
So yeah, for anyone who's got this far, please do send us in some dreams.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to a few people and said all my dreams are weird. That's good. Weirder the better.
We love it. We're here for it.
And trust us, we've had dreams that are pretty horrific ourselves. We're not going to judge you for any of your dreams.
And they'll be coming. Don't worry about that. You'll hear them. You'll hear them.
And unless you've got anything left to say, Shana?
I think it's time to summarize. What did we learn today?
Oh, yeah, good. That's a nice way to finish it. We learned that I would look good with a goat head.
And with salad fingers.
And with salad fingers, we learned that there's someone out there with a very bad stompy leg.
Yeah, they really need to get that twitch under control. They really need to get that twitch under control.
We learned that there's nothing better than a coral turkey potato.
Oh.
That I possibly at some stage have been anally probed by a Martian.
And that we all want to be cannibals.
And that we all want to be cannibals. Yeah. There we go. What a happy family we'd all make.
I love it. I love it. Guys.
So keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming. Sweet dreams. And definitely send us those emails. We're looking forward to it.
And we will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep dreaming. Tonight,